Hello, in this video, we will look into loading unstructured data from Amazon S3 into HeatWave vector store, running MySQL queries and SQL commands for HeatWave GenAI applications. I have a sample dataset containing more than 500 MySQL blogs and a CSV file containing the metadata for these blogs, like its title, number of views, author, its S3 bucket URI path, etc. The blogs are in JSON format, which is not the most ideal way to store the text blogs. We use HeatWave Lakehouse to load the MySQL blogs and its metadata into HeatWave. This creates mapping between the S3 files to an in-memory representation of the HeatWave. Creating the HeatWave Lakehouse mapping invokes HeatWave Autopilot, which intelligently infers the schema from the S3 files. For the MySQL blogs, HeatWave creates a vector table. The vector table stores information about the segments in the document, and the corresponding embeddings are stored as the MySQL's native vector data type. Now let us run the query to semantically search for the top 3 closest blogs which talk about JavaScript support in HeatWave. To do so, you need to create an embedding of the question and use MySQL vector data type's distance function to search for the distance between the vector embedding of the question with those of the blogs in the vector table. As you can see, the result indicates that the MySQL blog 152 is the one which talks about JavaScript in HeatWave, since it returns all the 3 segments from the same blog with the highest similarity. Let us look at the blog. It is actually the only blog as of now which talks about JavaScript support in HeatWave. We in fact have another blog which is totally dedicated to JavaScript support in MySQL server. Let us also look at this blog. This blog talks heavily about JavaScript, but since Vector Store does semantic search, it ignores the information in this blog as the question was specifically about JavaScript in HeatWave. Next, you can also run combined queries on the vector table and the InnoDB tables. Let us get the metadata for the document with the best similarity in the result of the semantic search query by doing a join of the vector table with the InnoDB table which contains the metadata for the blogs. In the query result, we have the metadata for the MySQL blogs related to JavaScript in HeatWave. We will now run HeatWave Generative AI SQL commands for different generative AI use cases. For content generation task, let us ask about Larry Ellison's involvement in sustainable projects. You invoke the MLGenerate API with the question and ID of the pre-trained large language model, or LLM as we call it, you want to use for your task. You only need the ID of the LLM. Here, we are using the in-database Llama LLM, which is available at absolutely no extra charge in HeatWave, and also because it is in database, data stays in HeatWave. For retrieval augmented generation task, let us ask about how AWS Aurora compares with HeatWave. For this task, there are 3 input parameters to the SQL command. The first is the ID of the LLM. Second is the context, which is basically the vector store table containing the relevant vector embeddings from the MySQL blogs. And the third is the natural language query. The query result has a nice summary of the performance comparison of AWS Aurora with HeatWave in the context of MySQL blogs. The response also contains the relevant segments from the blog.